Hi, everyone. I'm Steve Farrell, the Worldwide Coordinating Director for Humanities Team, and welcome to this 30-minute keynote interview with Marianne Williamson. If you've heard of Marianne Williamson and perhaps read her books but have not had a chance to really spend quality time with her, this is your opportunity. You'll enjoy the clarity of her vision, the depth of her wisdom, and her riveting insights. She is a spiritual activist who is unafraid during this time of enormous change and is inspiring many to become involved in their community and in the world. As we get started, I'd like to thank all of the people participating today by phone, webcast, and replay. We have over 60,000 people participating in Global Oneness Day 2015. It's great to have all of you with us. Marianne Williamson is an internationally acclaimed spiritual author and lecturer. 6 of her 10 published books have been New York Times bestsellers. 4 of these have been #1 New York Times bestsellers. A Return to Love is considered a must-read of the new spirituality. Her newest book, The Law of Divine Compensation on Work, Money, and Miracles, was published in October 2014. She has been a popular guest on television programs such as Oprah, Larry King Live, Good Morning America, and Charlie Rose. Marianne is a native of Houston, Texas. In 1989, she founded Project Angel Food, a Meals on Wheels program that serves homebound people with AIDS in the Los Angeles area. Today, Project Angel Food serves over 1,000 people daily. Marianne also founded the Department of Peace campaign, a grassroots campaign to establish a United States Department of Peace. And she serves on the board of directors of the Results Organization, working to end the ravages of hunger and poverty throughout the world. Welcome to Global Oneness Day, Marianne. It's a pleasure and a privilege to have you with us.
Oh, thank you so much. It's an honor.
And Marianne's got a full program today. She's actually on her lunch break doing this program. So, Marianne, I want to thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
As we get started, do you want to just share maybe an opening statement for this audience, listeners that are all a part of Global Oneness Day this year? This, of course, is so much your life work.
Well, the Course in Miracles says an idea grows stronger when it is shared. So the fact that so many of us are drawn to groups and online summits and so forth is very significant, because there is an instinctive understanding we all have that to read a book, to do our solitary work is extremely important. But in addition, there is an added dimension of power and resonance that occurs when we're all sort of doing it together. So it's an honor, as I said, to be speaking into the listening of this group today, and it's palpable. You know, you can tell when there are a bunch of minds join in this miracle of technology. It's so extraordinary, isn't it, that we can be talking to each other from literally different corners of the world. So how exciting is this? You know, it's really a global consciousness that's forming and that is evolving, and the kind of technological capability that we're afforded on days like today is what's helping it happen.
Yes, it is. But that is so true. My gosh, and there's been comments and questions that have been flooding in all day. I wish we, during this program in this format, could get to them. There are way too many comments to get to. We're trying to bring as many of them as we can to our Humanities Team Worldwide Facebook page for people that want to see some of what is coming in. Marianne, on just this issue of spiritual illiteracy, of course, this is why we have a Global Oneness Day, because there is only a fairly small percentage of the world that has this awareness that we are all one with the divine and each other. Do you want to share any thoughts about that?
My thought is that how do we know it's only a small percentage? Actually, so that would be my thought about that when you said it. I don't assume that at all. I think that there's something coming up from the bottom of things in humanity today. I don't think it's centered in any one particular group or any one particular ethnicity or geographical region or spiritual or religious orientation. So I don't presume to know who knows what. And I think that one of the things that those of us in the higher consciousness community need to avoid is any sense of spiritual superiority, any sense that we have some truth and the rest of them don't have it yet, or anything like that. For me, as a Course in Miracles student, I'm trained to just give up any of that judgment. I don't know what anybody else is thinking or doing. And anyway, what is the tipping point anyway? Some people say it's pi, which is what, 3.41? So You don't need a high percentage of any system to change its mind before it reaches tipping point anyway. Tipping point is, that 100th monkey concept. I've never heard it articulated as anything near majority. So the real change in the world does not go from horizontal axis, it goes from a vertical axis. It's not about getting more people to agree with us, because when you're trying to get more people to agree with you, there's always the temptation to dumb down what you're saying, to compromise with the radicalism of what you're saying. But if you realize that society changes and civilizations change because of a vertical shift, then you know that the job is to go as deep into your knowing as possible, and those who will resonate with you will join you there. And 10 people who understand what you're saying is a more powerful phenomenon energetically than 100 people who join with you on a more superficial level.
So true, and just embodying our message as opposed to just speaking our message is important, and certainly this aspect of non-judgment. This is your work, Marianne, so we're kind of pointed straight at the books you write, the workshops you do. There's so many people that follow you. Even your Facebook page is quite large. What are the ways that you share the message, embody the message? What are the things that you're focused on right now?
Well, what I'm focused on is what I'm focused on any given day. It's not right now as opposed to anything else, and that's trying to ever more practice what I preach and to live everything I talk about. It's the Course in Miracles says that enlightenment begins as abstract concept. Most of us have the abstract concepts down now. We've all read the same books and listened to the same tapes. Where we all are now is taking that journey without distance from the head to the heart. It's one thing to say, as we all would, that humanity is one and forgiveness is everything. It's another thing to wake up in the morning and to know that you're really dealing in as forgiving a way as you're really capable with someone who triggers you into wild judgment and defensiveness. So what I'm interested in now, as always, is seeking to be the woman I know that I'm on this earth to be. And I'm no enlightened master, but I think that we all feel that the issue is not whether we were perfect on any given day, but whether we tried our best. We all fall off the spiritual wagon sometimes, and then you seek to get back on. You atone for your mistakes, you apologize for your mistakes, and hopefully you grow from your mistakes. I've learned as much from failure as from success. And I think on any given day, that's really the mark of success, is that we grew from whatever we went through, whether we did everything perfectly or not.
Isn't that the truth? There is no such thing as failure. Yeah, and well,
there is such a thing as failure if you fail to learn or grow. Then it is a failure.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Well, there are a lot of different directions I'd love to point in here, and we don't have that much time, but. Just one direction, you've said that we are all part of a vast sea of love, one indivisible mind. And if people have not felt into that before, if they haven't experienced that, how do you suggest people access that?
Well, the Course in Miracles speaks so beautifully. It says, you are like sunbeams thinking you're separate from other sunbeams. And you're like waves in the ocean thinking you're separate from other waves. But really, of course, there's no place where one sunbeam stops and another starts, and there's no place where one wave stops and another starts. But if you think of yourself as a wave separated from the rest of the ocean, how could you not feel terrified of the ocean? How could you not feel terrified you were going to be overwhelmed by the rest of the waves in any given moment? But if you do drop in, as you were saying, drop down into that place of knowing that on the level of the body we're separate, but the level of the body is this three-dimensional hallucination we're all having. Then on the level of spirit, there's really no place where you stop and I start. That the truth of the matter is that, as Einstein said, time and space themselves are illusions in consciousness, and that it's not just a belief or a theory, it's simply a fact that on the level of energy, there's no place where you stop and I start. And when you do, as you were saying, drop into that, everything's different, including the realization that, as the Course says, whenever you're about to have a judgmental, blaming thought, think of a sword falling over the other person's head, but know that it's falling on yours. So it's a different mental filter the world of separation versus the world of unity. But depending on which mental filter you're using, your nervous system is different, your emotions are different, your thoughts are different, and your behavior is different, and then your experience of the world is different. So it is the essential existential decision that we make. Do you think you're one with others, or do you think you're separate? Because depending on what your answer is, your experience of the world will be radically different.
Isn't that so true? Another thing you've said, anything we do to anyone, we do to ourselves, which, of course, is talking about oneness. And I'd love to just ask you about that in practical application. You've shared for you, this journey is really about practical application, about living it. And in my introduction for you, I mentioned these organizations you've started, so I'm guessing that's probably tied into this, the Results Organization, Project Angel Food. But how do you give this practical application?
Well, when you start a nonprofit organization, which is, a lovely thing, and it's taken up a lot of my time and resources in my life, but that's not where it's hardest. Where it's hardest is with the person in front of you. Part of how we grow is that we are sent into the presence of people who trigger us, who challenge us with the fact that in their presence we hit our wall, and we get to that place where it is not easy to bless. It is much easier to blame. It is not easy to forgive. It's much easier to withhold forgiveness. And the Course in Miracles, the line that's so powerful there is, I am willing to see this differently. So the primary tool is willingness. Am I willing to see this differently? The Course says if I'm upset, if I'm triggered, if I'm blaming, if I'm not happy, the issue is within me. And am I willing to place in God's hands all my thoughts of attack, all my thoughts of blame, all my thoughts of separation? Because you can't just pour the concept of oneness onto the experience of separation like pink paint. The Course in Miracles says darkness must be brought to the light. You can't just bring the light to the darkness. So those experiences where we feel very separate indeed are part of everyone's journey. And the issue then is to ask God to remove our thoughts of separation so that we can actually experience on a practical level the oneness that otherwise just remains theory.
And I know, of course, you are such a spokesperson for A Course in Miracles. I'm guessing I wanted to turn to Inner Journey because I'm curious. This is your life work, and you are impacting so many people. Is A Course in Miracles one of the key parts of your inner journey? And what are other things when we talk about spiritual practice that have helped strengthen you into who you've become today?
Well, the Course in Miracles is definitely the teaching, the form of the teaching that guides my life. There's one truth spoken in many different ways. The Course in Miracles doesn't claim to have any kind of monopoly on truth. It's just one statement of many. It's not a religion. There's no dogma or doctrine. But it's a statement of that truth with a capital T that has helped me access a tremendous amount of light and peace and comfort. I also do transcendental meditation. I'm also Jewish. So I have a lot of places where I look for deeper calm and sense of connection. But I'm also a student of, various religious theories and philosophies. So as long as I meditate and as long as I read and as long as I do my best to be a better human being, I feel God pretty consistently. When I don't, it's not because He abandoned me, it's because I abandoned some human being.
Yeah, isn't that always the truth? Yeah. God's always turned all the way up, and we just have a tendency to turn God off sometimes. Marianne, one of the things you talk about, I love this phrase, you talk about inner keys to outer success. I love that. Can you just share a little bit about what that means?
Well, the way to be powerful on the mortal plane is to know that you're not of the mortal plane. That is the key. The mortal plane is just a level of effect, and consciousness is a level of cause. So if you try to change your life just by changing things on the level of effect, it's like going to a movie and trying to change the plot by going up to the screen and trying to manipulate it somehow. So there are objective, discernible laws of internal phenomenon, just like there are objective, discernible laws of external phenomenon. And basically, because there's only one of us here, it's do unto others as you would have others do unto you, because they will. And even if they don't, you will feel like they did. So the greatest navigational tool for the inner kingdom, and thus for the outer kingdom, since that simply reflects what's happening inside, is the golden rule.
And that becomes different now, doesn't it? Do unto others as we would do, and there is no really other. Do unto others as we would do unto ourselves, because you are myself, in a sense. Well, fantastic. You also have shared what we become in oneness is so important, and you're involved in lots of initiatives. I referenced some of those when I introduced you. What we become in oneness. What are some of the things you'd like to talk about there? What we become in oneness? Mm-hmm. Well, when we... Yeah, go on. Yeah, I think, and this might have been from your Facebook page, Marianne, you said, I think you were getting to the practical applications, what we become in oneness that's so important. And so what I took away from that was that, this work we're doing, our inner journey, et cetera, is important. But then what we do in the outer world is so important. I was not at the Wisdom 2.0 conference a year or two ago when you presented, but I saw the video of you talking to the tech executives. And I'm a former tech executive from Silicon Valley myself. And I thought you had a lot of courage there when you were speaking to those tech executives about spirituality and about, you were saying mindfulness is one thing, spirituality is another. And we go out further in spirituality, and there are things we have to consider the world around us. So I was inspired by that video. Well, thank you. It's like you were just saying, it correlates with how I was going to respond to the whole idea of how we would be in oneness. If we truly appreciated our oneness, we would not allow 14,000 children to starve every day, and we would not prosecute wars that are unnecessary, and we would not desecrate the earth. There are many ways that we would behave differently collectively on this planet if we were to realize that we are one. Absolutely. Yeah, that was beautiful, because that was a mindfulness conference, and as you pointed out, that kind of goes out so far, and spirituality goes out further, but you brought the spiritual message into tech executives, and I've seen you speak other times as well. You have a lot of courage. That's part of your trademark. You really, you can tell you're standing there thinking something, and you're going to share it. Yeah. I respect you. Yeah. What are the consequences? It's very powerful. You're always in your integrity. I can see you just don't hit the mute button. It's something, it inspires you, and for better or for worse, right? Even if it's going to challenge the audience, you share. So I imagine you have these organizations you founded, this work that you do. You must have people that are really there supporting you. Is that so? That resonate with that? Somebody of courage, somebody that is really a deeply spiritual leader. Well, I don't have day-to-day leadership function in any of the organizations that you mentioned, but certainly just giving all the lectures and the seminars that I do, running the programs that I do, the Course in Miracles says that as we stand convicted behind an idea, then those who resonate with that idea will find themselves joining with us, and that's really what it's all about. Yes, and you're going to have to go shortly, so I wondered if just, again, for this listening audience, gosh, we have such a great audience, and thank you, Marianne. You've been part of Global Oneness Day. You were last year, and I think the year before, and people so much appreciate you coming on and sharing. Over 60,000 are participating this year. What are maybe some important messages that you would want to leave with this audience? Well, I think it behooves us all to realize the urgency of this moment. I don't think humanity has much longer of a grace period. There's just so long you can go, corrupting your food supply, destroying your own earth, treating each other violently the way we do,
not seeking true justice and brotherhood throughout the world without expecting that some catastrophe could occur, which would not be easy for us to return away from the brink, that it could be very, very difficult. And I think that most of us are, and the very fact that somebody would be listening to this call right now means that they're already attuned towards what needs to happen. My sense is that most of us get what's going on the planet. I just think most of us need to step it up. So with whatever you're doing, whatever field you're in, whether or not you stand for a genuine alternative, whether or not you pray in the morning and really ask that your life be used as an alternative to the darkness of the world. And when we do that, something miraculous happens. And that's what I think is happening right now. I think it's a revolutionary moment. And I feel hope, because I think hope is a moral imperative, but also I think there's a quickening, and more people understand what we're talking about here, evidenced by your large numbers. Something's going on the planet, and I think that we can't indulge one moment of cynicism or doubt. We need every moment, every bit of energy we have building the future that all of us hope is around the corner. It'll be around the corner if we invoke it, and we can invoke it if our minds are with God.
Gosh, with your couple of minutes left, Marianne, let me just come in and add to that. One of the things, our value contribution in humanities team is the embodying the message to the best of our ability. We aren't writers and speakers for the most part. That's not really what we do. We're people that have come together that are passionate and devoted about living in oneness to the best of our ability. And our sense is that we've all, probably most of the people in this involved with this program have read the books, have been to workshops, have really deeply contemplated this, and have decided on some level that we really are all one with the divine, each other, and all of life. And if that's true, then isn't it incumbent upon us to live it to the best of our ability? And sometimes I have the sense that, for those of us that grew up in the Christian tradition, there's the sense that, well, if we're one, then that means we walk on water, and so we want to push it away. But nothing could be further from the truth. I don't know myself anybody that walks on water, and we don't need to ask for that level of perfection or excellence. All we can do is our best, and our best is pretty good. And if all of us just really decide this is ultimate reality, we'll embody it, we'll treat others as ourselves. Wow, aren't we creating just this world that we all want?
Well, absolutely. But I think that the walking on water issue is that spirit is an anti-gravitational force. And I think in that sense, the message there is very important. He says in the Course in Miracles, I assure you time and space are under my control. So the walking on water part is actually very important. It says that when you dwell in the realm of the miraculous, that the laws of time and space as you know them, you jump out of the linear time sequence, and a reordering of time and space can and does occur. So I like the walking on water part.
Yeah.
The Course in Miracles says there is nothing your holiness cannot do. So.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. Yeah, bringing in the metaphysical, and certainly mastery it goes to infinity. So, and my message was just to please don't push oneness away, because it feels like it's not doable. I can't do it, and I'm not good enough, because as we know, we actually already are all one. We're not creating anything new at all. We're all one today, and so the invitation is just to live that way to the best of our ability. And that one of the wonderful things about Global Oneness Day is there's so much incredible conversation during this almost 12-hour program about how we can do that, awaken, and then also, to use Ken Wilber's term, grow up, waking up and growing up, and then he brings in cleaning up, and Marianne, you talk about that too. So there are lots of dimensions to this, but the key is just to get started and then really all contribute, each of us in our own way. Marianne, have you left? I want to thank you. Hopefully you haven't left yet.
No, of course not.
Okay, good. So let me thank you. Marianne Williamson, everybody. Oh, my gosh. She is so many things that Marianne has shared in her books and in her talks and workshops. It's just she is an anthem for the new spirituality. And Marianne, again, you have an all-day program. This is your lunch break, and thank you so much for
Thank you
being
so
here.
much, and congratulations on this, and thank you for giving me the honor of allowing me to speak with you and to speak into this listening and to agree. You know, the Course says the most powerful force in the universe is an agreement between two people, so I'm more than thrilled to agree with you that we are one and to fortify the awareness inside myself and in all of us that because we are one, there's nothing that we need fear, and that the more we realize that we are one, we will bring forth from within ourselves behavior and energies that do to transform the world. So thank you so much for doing what you're doing and for allowing me to be part of it.
Amen. Thank you, Marianne. We'll receive that.
You.
Thank you, Marianne, very much. And
bye-bye.
Look forward to remaining in touch.
Absolutely.
Okay, and John Thomas is going to be coming on here in the remaining couple of minutes. John is a key leader in the Humanities team. Hey, John, how are you?
Great, thanks.
Let me share what John and I are up to. Marianne has 25 minutes. We've got a few minutes left, and we had a very important announcement this morning, didn't we, John?
Yes. It's exciting, and so we're really happy to announce the Conscious Business Declaration, which is a declaration that was created by Humanities Team, Club of Budapest, Goy Peace Foundation, working along with the Fowler Center for Business as an agent of world benefit. And I think it's something we're going to come back to and talk about later in the day on the panel, New Bottom Line for Business at 4 p.m. That and the training program, a Conscious Business Training and Certification Program, which Humanities Team will launch in 2016, early in the year, to support this whole business transformation community, which by sharing inspiration and skills and proven best practices to help business leaders transform their organizations.
Fantastic. Yes, so a huge announcement. John and myself and these other leaders that John mentions from Club of Budapest, the Goy Peace Foundation and Fowler Center, and others have been working hard on this. And wow, we are so excited about this Conscious Business Declaration and this curriculum that will launch next year that will train practitioners in conscious business. And truly, we see this as a new standard for business in the 21st century. So we couldn't be more excited about it. We're just got just a little bit of time here to talk about it now. In fact, in a couple minutes, this next panel starts. So be sure to tune in at 4 o'clock Pacific time to the New Bottom Line for Business panel. John is leading that panel, and he'll certainly be talking more about the declaration and the curriculum during that New Bottom Line for Business panel. It's exciting because, as we've been sharing here throughout the day, Global Oneness Day, of course, creates this opportunity for all of us and our families and communities to live as one. But we can't leave out business. Business is a crucial part of this. Businesses also need to wake up and grow up, and that's exactly what the Conscious Business Declaration and the Conscious Business Curriculum address. And so tune in at 4 to hear John and the incredible panel that he's put together that's going to be talking more about this. John, any closing 10 or 15 seconds on this?
Well, yeah, just please join us. I'll be interviewing Ronaldo Brutico, Chris Laszlo, Jennifer McLean, and Thomas Hubel. We'll be bringing business and spiritual perspectives into this panel, and it's going to be very, very engaging and exciting. So I hope all of you can join.
All right. So next up is we're going to join with internationally renowned spiritual teachers in this panel that immediately follows. Doreen Virtue, Patricia Cota-Robles, Kenji Kimura, and Matt Kahn will join me. I'll be the moderator of this panel. It's called Spirituality and Global Oneness, and we're going to be exploring profound spiritual truths based in ancient wisdom and new thought. It's going to be a very exciting conversation, so definitely stay tuned. We're going to just take 10 seconds here, so you can grab a cup of water or tea if you want. Before our next program, we are going to enjoy a oneness moment and experience 10 seconds of silence so we may connect with the divine within and each other. Let's go ahead and begin our oneness moment now.